Hey guys, it's Dr. Mahajan from Mahajan Medical Center with another edition of our webcast. I'm very excited. We got Gro Miller. She's a local realtor and tons of knowledge for Tampa Bay, both commercial and residential market. And she's going to share how COVID-19 has affected or not affected Tampa Bay region. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Mahajan. I'm an internist in Largo, and we do a webcast once a week, and we bring different thought leaders and bring different medical and non-medical topic. And today is a non-medical topic we're bringing for interest to all our audience in Tampa Bay area and beyond. So let's get Grow on the show, and we're going to also do the raffle for our previous webcast for all the good folks who put comments in my live event, which we did on how to quit smoking. And Trish and her cute dog did a great job in giving us insight. So we want to thank Trish for coming to our show about quitting smoking. And hopefully that would have helped a lot of you folks who or your friends or family who are struggling with the addiction of smoking. So today's topic is real estate. So let's get Grow on our show. And here we go. Hello, Grow. How are you?
I'm really, really good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So tell us how long you've been in Florida.
I've been 20 years in Florida.
Wow.
Since I met you.
So we go a long way back then.
We go a long way back, yeah. And I had my own insurance agency and was tapping into being acknowledged as opera singer in Germany for 20 years. But originally, I am from Norway.
So you got the good stock in you, the Norwegian stock.
Yep, exactly. Well, I had to figure out what you do in Clearwater. And I quickly discovered that was real estate or IT. So being less technical motivated, I started in real estate. And I have my two companies, Sunshine Professional Realty and Sunshine Association and Property Management. So I do residential and commercial. And I do association management. I did that for 5 years. I still have my license. And I do property management.
Great.
And that, yeah.
So in terms of the real estate, you have tons of experience. I know from personal interaction with you. We've been trying to develop the area in front of my office with you. So, and you bring a lot of wealth of knowledge. I can vouch from my personal experience. So you're saying something about your individual business. So tell us about you got two companies. Yes.
Yeah. Sunshine Professional Real Estate, where you do residential as well as commercial. And then as a result of that, because I'm a certified international property specialist, so I have a lot of foreign national or people who live in other states, and I buy and sell properties for them and rent them out in the meantime. So COVID-19 is interesting when you are a property manager and who is going to pay the rent this month.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the topic. Let's dive in. So, what I read, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the inventory has shrunk in Tampa Bay area as it has shrunk nationally as well. And we're talking residential right now. We'll talk commercial later. So we're purely talking residential growth. So the balanced market, what they say is the inventory should be 5.5 months for it to be both balanced for buyers and sellers. What we've seen is in Tampa Bay in last 6 months, and especially in last 2-3 months, that the inventory is less than 2 months. Is that correct?
So sometimes it's less than 2 days. Um, I tell you, we can start with that. I wanted to end with that, but we can start with that. I can give you some data which everyone can check out. You can go on pinelasrealtor.org statistics. You can listen to YouTube video and note the numbers. I hope they are correct. They were correct one day ago. Single family homes, the median price the last 10 year the last year from 2019 to 2020 has risen from 271,000 to 308,000. That is an increase of 13.3%. Townhomes and condos, the median price is 200,000 and the increase was 17.6%. Now, what is interesting, and you may think that has something to do with COVID, which I am not totally convinced about, because it actually was already in the beginning of the year, the inventory of single-family homes dropped 43.6%. 43.6. That's
Wow.
a lot. And the inventory of townhomes dropped 11.4%. I had a personal experience. I actually bought a house myself in the middle of lockdown. I got bored, so I bought a house. That was a joke. But anyway, I think that was a good time to buy something. It is not, let me first say this. I got my license in 2005. So I was a realtor and broker through the last recession. And this recession is not like recession. This is something totally different. Now, it could remind you because like 2010, the houses are like 2 days on the market. I'm thinking, especially when I moved, one condominium came on the market the day I was without internet and sold before I got the internet. It took 2 days. It was gone. And there is hardly any property, if it is correctly priced and is move-in ready, 1 to 2 weeks is gone. It is very, very hot market. And the difference is, it is not that you can tell the appraiser, oh, this should appraise for, and he adjusts the appraisal, which was one of the big outpoints in my personal experience 10 years ago. But it is just, I don't know why it is so little on the market. I think we will know more in 1 or 2 months, because if people cannot buy their mortgages, that's when we come into short sales, foreclosure, then we are overflooded with cheap houses again.
Right.
But right now
ahead.
it's a seller's market right now.
Okay, so it is a seller's market. Okay.
Right now, yeah.
All right. So, for a lot of folks who joined in, please share and like. Grow put in a lot of work into bringing the material to you. So give her a love and give her a like and put a comment. And once you comment, we're going to put you in the raffle for our next webcast, which is next Thursday at 4:30, and we're going to be raffling out a Publix gift card. So even if you are listening, just say, hello, Dr. Mahajan. I like your show. I like what Grow is bringing. So that gives us encouragement. So do please comment, share, and like our webcast. Let me bring another slide up for you to look at, Grow, and that was interesting for me. So the data is showing that Pinellas County is the most resilient of all the Tampa Bay counties, and then is Pasco and Hillsborough in terms of COVID-19. What's your experience regarding that?
Well, let me show you a graph which I brought. It's on the North America and Florida. That is, can you see that?
Yes.
This yellow line, this is the lockdown. You see,
Right.
that is the number of showings. We had hardly showings before we figure out that we had to wear gloves and masks. Thank you for letting me talk without. But it is up almost back to normal. And I interviewed a couple of people yesterday for this purpose, and I have a lot of national data if you want to listen to that. But when you're mentioning the situation in Tampa, Tampa, it is a very diverse area. So it hasn't really hit yet. You cannot really see in the statistics that multifamily homes, they don't pay the rent, and then the landlords cannot keep the property. We are not there yet. It has actually been very, very stable. Commercial has shown very stable. The statistics I got from CoStar, which is a known website for commercial real estate, they actually said that as 250,000 apartment renters have fallen behind on their rent for the second straight month. But that is 2 points fewer than last year. And this is mostly in the big cities like New York, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. Here, it is not really so we can see it. If you ask me back in 1 or 2 months, I may have statistics which shows you dumps, right? But for now, it is actually, we are in a very good situation.
Okay. Let me ask you this. In terms of, I was reading statistics that if that only difference between what the buyer is asking in a residential and what the seller is paying is only 1.13% difference. So in other words, if they're asking $100,000, they are getting pretty much $99,000 and multiple offers. Is that what you're seeing too?
I would say the difference is, well, it really, really depends, Dr. Mahajan. It's generality, but it is not like 10 years ago, I can promise you that. 5,000 difference, but it is not that you price a house much more than the market price anymore because you have something to negotiate with. It is really market value has become very important. Nothing is more valuable than a buyer is willing to pay for it. And he has to be able to pay for it. And I think people have learned. So we don't see this overbidding of prices. At least I have not seen that. But the sellers are not taking bumping prices anymore either. So it's stabilizing, really nice. It is more what I experience is what we have to do. We have to show up. We have especially training. We have to, when we have open house, we have to make sure 6 feet difference, give out masks. It is not easy to show houses right now because people are afraid. And on a personal level, I'm pretty sure I would have sold a fantastic property, a piece of land, but they couldn't come here. They had restrictions. They were not allowed to fly down. So I put the property on hold. What are you going to do?
So, I have a few realtor, patients who, told me that they were able to sell properties with these 3D cameras in residential, market without the customer even coming in. Customers are getting more comfortable with this 3D imaging. Did you have any experience with that?
I have an agent who's done that. And especially if you know the agent, and the agent is a good buyer's broker who is really conscious and make sure that you have a very good inspection, you should be safe. But you have to follow up and you have to have an inspection so you know there are no big surprises when you move in.
All right, so that's a good point. Let's see what for comments we got here, Grow, what questions we got, and then we'll move on to the commercial and see the forecasting. All right, let's see. We got. All right, so Mark had a question. He's saying, I heard there is a shortage of houses for sale in Bel Air. Is that true?
Definitely, there's shortage of houses, I would say, everywhere. It is difficult to find a good house. It is just like I showed you. The market dropped 46% compared to last year. That says it all. And if you go on the market and you really have to know or look every day, you really have to have a broker who looks in the MLS every single day if you want to be in a special area.
Wow.
And you have to be there fast.
So, let's say hello to people who tune in. Mr. Gupta, tune in. Thank you, Mr. Gupta. Stephanie, tune in. Debbie Bell, tune in. Ray Davis, tune in. Thank you, Ray and Caroline. Dorothy Scott said it's interesting. And Dorothy is going to be our future guest appearance. So thank you, Dorothy. And then Deborah Hawkins, tune in. Thank you, Deborah. And Rosary Eller, tune in. Thank you, Rosary. All right, so let's talk a little bit about commercial. I know you have a lot of interest and expertise in commercial market. Paint a picture. How is it different or similar to residential?
Well, there are other people. It's other people. Now you also have to consider that multifamily, that is also commercial. Everything which is more than 4 units. So when we talk about commercial, we talk about what I have 10 numbers I have taken from the Florida website, again, Florida Realtors. The commercial, let's divide it in office buildings or office space and in retail space, like strip mall, for instance. Now, the average rent from last year has moved very little. It was $25.30 last year and $25.87 this year. The vacancy rate has gone up a little from 7.39% to 7.68%. That is 4% more. That is actually not bad. And I don't think that has anything to do with COVID yet. That's my personal opinion. The cap rate has hardly moved, 0.02%. It was 7 point in average last year, 7.69, and 7.71 this year. The sales price for office went up $4 per square foot, from $179 to $183 per square foot. On the market, average on the market, office buildings are 8.8 months. That has been the average. When it comes to retail, like flower shops, basically what we call vendors, appliances, the rent is 19.78 per square foot. Last year, $1 less. That went up 4.8%. Vacancy rate has increased. Vacancy rent has increased with 0.10%. And I don't want to overwhelm you with numbers here, but the sales price for retail was 186 last year and 196 this year. It's an increase from 5.6%, and the retail is in an average 9.8 months on the market of margin.
So
That's
let me ask you this. I know that Tampa has been very resilient, which I know other markets in the retail has been decimated. The office spaces and
Yeah,
the restaurants and the strip malls, the big malls. There's a lot of vacancy there, and but I think part of the thing is there is intervention from state and the federal level in both on residential side
yeah,
and the commercial side, and then also support from different federal agencies in terms of freezing up on the mortgage payment. So, what's your take on that? Once they can't do it indefinitely, it will
no,
eventually stop. So
yeah,
my question to you is, let's talk about residential side first, and we'll talk about commercial. So let's
yeah.
say, I think our governor, Mr. DeSantis, has put a freeze on the eviction till what, September or something.
At
Uh,
the end of the year. But here's the thing: I have some numbers for you
mhm.
um, from Florida Realtors. That is regarding uh, multifamily. And what is really interesting is that um, even if the economy sort of crushed with 12.9 million lost jobs, the personal finances of many Americans have remained strong, and in some ways they have improved because they didn't go out eating so much. And the $3 trillion dollar which they got in government support has helped a lot. And since February, there has been a $1.3 trillion jump in money kept in checking accounts. That is a 56% increase tracked by the Federal Reserve. And I was really surprised about that. People, they got money, they could pay their rent, and they were spending less. So they used that money to pay down their mortgage or pay their rent, which is fantastic. I mean, that is responsibility. I really salute that as well.
Right, but let's say the elections are over and all the incentive to print money is gone. What
Yeah.
what you see the residential market doing at that time when the eviction orders are in place and people not getting that $600 check, which they're going to get probably $300-400 now. So once that gone, and the small businesses, the mid-sized businesses, they are struggling, because the PPP money is gone. So how you predict the residential market panning out? You see more foreclosures a year from now. You see, the property prices coming down, the inventory going up, short sales going up. What you foresee?
Well, I would like to see it positively and say it should be an incentive to work, incentive to create. It doesn't matter what you do. If you cannot pursue your work, then do something else. I mean, come and work for me if you want to. You know what I mean? I mean, go and find some money somewhere. There is work. If you create it, it will just happen. But to sit home, and I agree to that philosophy, you give people more money than they earn, they will not go to work. Absolutely not, because we're comfortable, we're sometimes lazy, but you have to survive. You have to pay food for your children, take care of your family. So do something. There will be ways. And if not, then, I can show you statistics in 2 months, but I hope that doesn't happen. I would like to keep a positive attitude and say we're going to beat this. Economy is already coming back up. So I'm all for it.
How about from the landlord's perspective? They have been squeezed.
Yeah.
With the, as you showed, vacancies are a little bit higher, and delinquencies on the rent is higher.
Yeah.
So I know the landlord typically have a little bit more financial cushions. They are more well off, but there are landlords who rely on that passive income for their to help them pay their bills. How do
Well,
you see that?
well, that's what I do, or what I have been doing the last 15 years is investment properties. So that is my job, to make sure that the tenants are paying their rent. But I think there is a bit, step back and look what is happening before you buy an investment property. Because then you are, if you don't have any cushion, then you are totally dependent upon good tenants. Now, I've been very lucky as a property manager that I have very stable tenants. I lost one, and the lease was up, so just not renewal of the lease. But other than that, toy, toy, toy. They all paid so far, but there are, I think, what I said, 90% of the apartment renters have made full or partial payments, and that was only down from 91.3% compared to last year. So when you think, I don't know. Sometimes people like to overdo it, see it very, very dark. So it sounds so horrible when you see these facts right now, with everything which has gone down, going on, that through August the 20th this year, it's only 1.3% fewer who didn't pay, and that is pretty awesome. But
That
I
is.
say we are too early, Dr. Mahajan. In 2-3 months, we will know more.
Let me bring a screen here. It has a nice graph for the Tampa market overview from Zillow. Let's do that. Here we go. So, if you can see the graph, it shows forecasting where we are current in 2020 for the Tampa Bay market.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pricing going to stay pretty much stable till March of 2021 at 248,
Yeah.
$100,000 or 248K. And so 1 year forecasting by Zillow is only minus 1.2%. And that's pretty reasonable considering, so it brings to what you were saying earlier, that the Tampa Bay market has been very resilient.
But I can tell you, Zillow is not that specific. Zillow does not, when you see, when I list a house or list something, say, oh, Zillow says so and so. But then they have not compared apples to apples. So they don't include the whole area with details, which you need to do in order to get it accurate.
Yeah, let me give you another graph, and maybe, so that gives us different source. So this is from, the Realtor.com, and it talks about median list price versus median sold price for single family homes and condos and
Mm-hmm.
townhomes. So
That
the
should be correct.
so the pink line is the medium list price, and the blue is the medium sold price. So you can see there's only 1.13% difference between
Yeah.
the sale to list price ratio is 98.87. So
Yeah.
as you said, it is a seller's market because they are getting what they're asking pretty much. So
Yeah, but they are not overbidding yet. People are
that's a
not
good point.
overbidding. Yeah.
That's a good point. So what about the commercial and market? We talked about stability a year down the line. Despite the economy going down, this is different than 2008. Um, do you what do you recommend to your clients who have money and they want to invest in Tampa Bay area? You say wait and watch, or you say this is a good time? What you're telling them?
And you're asking me as broker? I have to live. I earn my money that way. But I tell you, I tend to be very honest with my clients because I figured out very early in life, then you keep them. I
Right.
have very, very, very stable clients. So what can I say? just bought a house myself in the lockdown, during the lockdown. And I got what I see now. The neighbor was listing a house for 200 square feet less than I bought and for $20,000 more. And it sold in 2 weeks. So, you just have a good broker. You have to have a good realtor who really does research for you
Right.
and who you think you can trust.
Right.
And ask if you want to buy investment property. It is very important to find out, can you rent this out for me?
Right.
You know?
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think one piece we didn't discuss, and I think that's one of the major reason why there's so many buyers out there looking, is the low mortgage rates. The low mortgage rates have really brought a lot of buyers out in the market which they couldn't afford earlier. Now they see how much the rents are, and the rents is another important point I think we should discuss along with mortgage, because people look at, like you were renting before, and you were telling me that your rent is much more than your mortgage right now, and now you putting that money towards your own equity. So I think those two factors are in Tampa Bay and across the nation is a big factor, that the mortgage rates are way down, and the rents are high. What do you think of that?
Well, that came as a result of the recession. Everyone needed a place to live. They had to sell their house, so they had to foreclose, so they had the short sale, or they needed a place to live. And unfortunately, and then it was built massive. Some of them was able to build and people moved in, and some of them was standing there a couple of years, but now it is completed. Just take in Clearwater area, but now everything is full and the rents are really sky high. I mean, well, that's the reason why I bought my own house. It really depends. There are responsibilities with your own house, but sometimes if you really come up in the area of $2,000 a month in rent, you may want to look if your credit allows it to buy, because the interest rate for mortgages today is really, really good. So you really have to weigh pro and for.
Right, right. Yeah. So yeah, I think the mortgage rates no one can predict, but for near foreseeable future, they're going to keep it low to keep that this piece of the market humming, the real estate piece. I think as far as they can control, because sometimes you can't control the mortgage rates, but the feds are saying that they want to see the mortgage rates low for at least next 6 months to a year. So
I don't
hopefully,
think I don't think it will spike anymore like it did last time.
right,
I think people have learned and appraisers have learned, the bank has learned. I don't think that's going to happen.
right. So not like 2008, you're going to have a whole lot of buying opportunities. What you're saying, if you looking for a fire sale or something, that's not going to happen this time. That's what I'm hearing from you, right?
Yeah, I hope,
Mhm.
because of the support they now get from the government.
Right,
And if they have the guts to start up, get work, and earn some money, so then the bank will probably work with you to make it go right, because it wasn't really your fault, right? So I hope that is what is going to happen.
I
And if
think that
not,
yeah, I think the other thing I heard from my realtor friends is that the banks and the lenders have learned their lessons from
yeah,
2008.
yeah,
So there is not as much speculation with, you don't have income and you still get a loan for, $1 million, like what we saw.
yeah.
So the market is a little bit more resilient because the people who can pay own the properties, correct?
Yeah, on what happened last time, people were overbidding and they bought houses which were way above market price, and then they got mortgages for 2% interest, no down payment, don't need to show anything. And then the after 2 3 years, the 2% interest, now it was 5% interest, and then everything went upside down. That was a real recession.
Right.
That was a problem.
Right.
And I don't think that would happen this time. I hope not.
Right. No, you want stability, for everyone's sake, if we can have it, hopefully, the whatever happened post election, they will continue with the policy of support for both the landlords and the homeowners, and that'll be good for everyone. So you want, as you said, the market is not overpriced right now; it's rightly
No.
priced.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good point. And then the people who own the houses, they are not as much underwater uh,
Right.
as as they were in 2008. So that tells us it's going to be a stable sailing for next year or two. Unless something dramatic happen, and we don't have a handle on the coronavirus, or we get second wave, God forbid, which is not as more worse than what we had so far.
You
And
haven't tackled that yet, Dr. Mahajan.
all right,
No?
let's talk about how is the real estate business different pre-corona and corona in terms of showing. You were talking a little bit about it, so tell us, how is it different?
Well, I showed you the statistics during the lockdown, right? It was like no showings. But here it is basically the same. It is just that you have the client has to sign a form that they know about the virus, about the risk. So if I show him a unit, he has to wear gloves, mask, and sign a paper which I bring that it is his responsibility if something happens. And then I can show him. And then I always bring sanitizing wipes and make sure everything is clean before and after if I can. And if they have an open house, there are restrictions. You cannot go unless you're married. You cannot just go up and talk to someone. You really have to keep the distance.
That's
So
good.
it's,
That's
yeah.
good. What else you think we didn't bring up and you wanted to bring up, Gross? So I'll leave it to you. I know I touched a lot of topics, and I know you did a lot of research. So bring up what you think I didn't bring up.
We don't want to bring up politics. So
No. We only want to talk about real estate.
yeah, it has a bit to do with the future, what we think about the future, and we think one way and we think another way, and that is but throughout what I have been, the reason why I got interested in commercial is because when I see I did all my classes for this exam. Didn't get it yet, but what I see, these guys who have been in commercial since years and years and years, and I discovered they are actually building the environment I'm living in. And that made commercial very interesting to me. They are on the board here, on the board there, they are working with architects, and that is actually really exciting. It's exciting to give a person the dream house. I like to do that. But on a broader plan, to be able to design a community with roads, parking spaces, retail centers, that is really something I really like, and I get excited.
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: in terms of, I know the real estate is local. how do you compare Tampa Bay market with, let's say, the same size markets, let's say Atlanta, Nashville? Do you think it's better place for future in terms of keeping the values of the houses and the commercial properties? With the,
Um,
I know it depends on a lot of factors, like employment here and different infrastructure and walkability. There's different area, and then weather, and luckily we don't get hurricanes as much.
no, we've been lucky. Well, it really depends on where you want to live. I have a family member who just bought a property west, I think it's west of Orlando, and that was a great property to a fantastic price, cheaper than here, more house for the value, but they don't have the beach, right?
Hmm.
They don't have this environment. I consider Tampa Bay and Pinellas and Pasco and Hillsborough, where I work as much as I can, a very safe and very stable environment because there is everything. Um, we are being told if you do commercial, you should specialize. I find that very difficult living in Clearwater because there are not enough of that kind of buildings or enough only land. So I used to say I take what I get, which is not totally true. I love land and retail. But I think that this is a very, like they verified yesterday when I interviewed a couple of people from Florida Realtor and CoStar. This is such a diverse area, which makes it more stable. We had a lot of things, in the last recession, but due to the government stepping in and hopefully people get incentive to go back and work, I think this is a really great place to be.
No, you're right, and we all enjoy. That's why we are here. Let me
Yeah,
put some comments here. We got a comments from Vincent saying he's watching. Thank you, Vincent. And then we got Rupa saying interesting and educative. Thank you, Rupa. We got Stephanie saying she's watching. Thank you, Stephanie. So, these guys are loyal followers of our webcast, and they are having good time with your knowledge grow. So I want to thank you. And unless you have something else you want to bring up,
no,
uh,
thank you for having me. And if they want to ask me something, they can contact you.
right. So we put your website on our Facebook page so they can
Okay.
reach out to you if they have any questions or they want to buy something, so your website
Yep.
is up there. All right.
Yeah.
So that brings to we're going to do the drawing now for our previous week, the raffle. So let's get that going. Let me put that up in a minute. Let me just do that, and then we'll be up and running. So here we go. Okay, so we got this raffle we're gonna do. We're gonna shake it around. What's at stake is the the gift card, which is the Publix gift card, which is the $25. So we're gonna one of the lucky winners. We're gonna have it. So let's shake it one more time and let's find who's the lucky winner. And the lucky winner is, let's see, let me change the settings. Here we go. And the lucky winner is Terry Tillman. Terry, I know you're not watching today. You normally watch. You may come back later and watch. So that's Terry Tillman. He always watches us live on the webcast, and we appreciate Terry. And we want to congratulate Terry for being the lucky winner for $25 gift card. Now we're going to come to the last piece, Grow, and you can do it with us. We always end our webcast with the breathing exercise, and in this anxious time, I've been trying to teach a local community some tools to help with the anxiety. And one of the tool I found to be of immense value to me, and I like to share with my community, is to improve my breathing. So I end with a good breathing exercise. So today we're going to do the three-part breathing. A lot of folks who have watched us over the last few months know that we've done that in the past, and this is one of my favorite breathing exercise. The three part is your abdominal muscles, your diaphragm, which is a very strong muscle we don't use a whole lot in our breathing, we should, and the
Really.
intercostal muscles. And if we use them effectively, all three areas, and do it, practice it over a year or two or three, we can increase our lung volumes 4 to 5 fold plus. So that's huge. No other thing can do that, and there's no side effects. So there's no reason not to do it, because as we age, we get inhalation from different environment we were in. Let's say if our parents were smoker, or we were smoker, or we grew up in an area where there were industrial area or something with a lot of pollution. So the lungs has taken it. Those irritants have taken a toll on our lungs. So with the breathing exercise, if you increase the dead spaces and make them activated, you can use it better. If you're a young athlete, breathing exercise will give you an edge as well. So, and also it helps you calm your mind so you can make better decisions, whether it's real estate or family matter, financial matter, professional matter. If you have a calm mind, you make better decisions. So let's do the three-part breathing. So what I want you to do is, if you're sitting up, keep your spine straight, keep both hands on your knees, and close your eyes. And then take a deep breath and make your belly muscles go forward. So, and then breathe out through your nose and push the belly back. Let's do it one more time. Breathe in, balloon the belly, and breathe out, push the belly button back. So that's a simple use of the abdominal muscle. And if you think about it, whenever we're breathing, we hardly notice the abdominal muscles moving, which is a shame, because we can recruit those big core muscles and we can get more volume of air going in and out with ease if we can learn to train those muscles for breathing. Typically, on a shallow breathing, that's what we do. We just use the chest muscles or the intercostal muscles. So we're training our abdominal muscle in this exercise. Now, with the second step, we're going to add the diaphragmatic muscle. So again, breathe in, balloon your belly up, and then add another breath with the diaphragm. Now you got a belly in the front, and you got a little bit more air in the lower part of your lung through the diaphragm. Now what I want you to do is stay tall, and first exhale the breath which is in your lungs, and then push the belly back and exhale the air in your abdominal through your abdominal muscle. So we're going to do it smoothly in one step. We're going to blow up our belly with inhalation and take an extra breath in the lower our lungs to around the diaphragm. So let's do that. Breathe in, add the extra air in your lower part, and then stay tall. Keep your eyes closed, and first exhale the air in your lung, and then the air in your lower belly. Now in this breath, we're going to add the third part of the breathing, which is just below your clavicle, which is the intercostal muscle, and we're going to raise your heart up with the third part. So now breathe in and push your belly up. Take the extra air in your lower part of your lung, and then take extra breath. Now feel your heart going up and your clavicle is up. Now, you should be comfortable. You should not be stretching too much. And then breathe out first the upper air, then the lower part of your chest, and then your belly should go back. So now we're going to do in one smooth motion all three parts. So breathe in, and all three parts should work. Belly first, lower chest, and upper chest. And hold 1, 2, 3, and then breathe out. Upper chest, lower chest, and belly. Let's do one last time. Smooth, no stopping for three parts. We're going to do smoothly all three parts. Breathe in, all three parts. Belly up. Hold one, two, three, and breathe out through your nose, all the way from the upper chest down. Very simple, not very hard. This is called three-part breathing. If you practice it every day, 10 times, 3 times a day, make sure you're not getting dizzy with this breathing. Very important to keep it smooth and continuous and comfortable. And you will see if you practice it a lot, it will come easier. With that, we come to the end of our webcast today. We want to thank Grow for coming and sharing her deep knowledge of the real estate in our area. And, she has been such a good resource. And if you need her, she is available for you. And we have a link for that. And I want to thank you. And I want you to be kind to yourself, kind to your family, kind to your neighbors, kind to your fellow human beings, and be nice to Mother Nature. Ciao.
Ciao.